Tom, how did you find carnivore?
I was am a pianist, and I uploaded a video from back in 2018 or 19 from Nacogdoches when I played on a grand piano, and I had quite the belly while I was playing, and I had uploaded to a friend of mine's site. We do some ancient music ideas where we read the metronome differently. And essentially, this guy said, "You're a big fat pig," because he didn't agree with the metronome idea. And so I said, I looked at myself and said, he's right. I mean, I was bigger than the grand piano. I mean, my belly bumped up against the keyboard. Now that's a bad day. So I started a channel called From Fat to Fit After 50, and I was 54 at the time, and I was going to do what doctors had told me to do 20 years before. That was the old DASH diet, Special K, cup of fat-free milk, glass of orange juice, got to have your apple for a snack, and then eat a salad and some meat. Of course, you need your banana at 2 o'clock for the potassium, and then I would eat a small dinner at 6 o'clock, and I walked 2 miles every day. And in 7 months, I went from 276 pounds down to 197 pounds, but I was 30. Cut to 54 years old, and whoops, that doesn't work anymore. It didn't work. I went from 130 kilos to about 115 kilos, and I stalled out. And right then, boom, I had this healthy keto pull up from another YouTube professional. And I had done that for about a few months, and like weight was just falling off me. And then I started seeing carnivore stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I'm already eating a steak and a salad. What if I just get rid of the salad? Well, now I just get to eat steak. So actually, that first day, it was November 7th, I ate half of a chicken. I baked a half of a chicken. It was about a pound and a half. And I didn't die. And I said, well, okay, so I'm just going to eat meat from then on. And I pretty much just eat meat, according to another professor online here. He says that if you're 70% meat, I reckon by mass, you're a carnivore. So I eat very little veg. Um, and that's how I found carnivore, just through YouTube.
Right. And when you moved more in the carnivore direction, was there a change that you kind of went, "Oh, this is the right way I should be eating"?
Yeah. Even though I was on salads, I was still poofy. And I never had these like defined necks and all this other stuff. I lost all the inflammation. I started seeing, the whole, gym bro veins forming on my legs. And I'm not working in the gym. So this was just natural, normal, everyday stuff. I mean, um, just to and from work, I walk probably 30 kilometers a week. But that's just to get, half an hour to one of my jobs and back. So it's an hour twice a week, and then 2 hours on Friday to get to another job. So I just walk all the time. And yeah, the carnivore diet got rid of all the inflammation, completely gone. I haven't had a headache, Dave, since that first 9 days in keto. I had a severe headache and dry heaves, and that was my sugar withdrawal, according to everything I've looked up. And after that, I mean, no pain, no swelling, no, I had arthritis, I had, you name it. 59, I'm going to have stuff, right? But back then, again, so I was probably carnivore by the age of 55-ish. It was May 17th, 2021. That was the actual first day that I started healthy keto. And then that November is when I got rid of the salads. And yeah, not even a headache, no sickness. I haven't had a cold, nothing.
Yeah, I've been talking to people about that recently. The interesting thing is you can go for years without getting so much as a cold. It's awesome, right?
Yeah. I mean, um, I get into the sun in the mornings, I'll admit, because I walk obviously in the mornings, and we're pretty sunny here in Mexico. And then obviously I eat. Well, now I've been eating instead of eight. I've been eating up to 10 eggs a day because I don't have as much money, so I I fill it up with a lot more eggs. Eggs are cheap here. So I eat a lot more eggs. And then I relieve stress. I became a Stoic, or practice it, so to speak. So I have kind of an IDGAF attitude, and that's helping immensely. With the forces of life, it's like, oh well, nothing I can do about it. And if I can control it, I will. And then, of course, sleep. I go to sleep about 2 or 3 hours after sundown. And here where I live, in the winter, we get 13 hours of evening, night. And in the summer, we get 11 hours of night. So I pretty much get 9 hours of sleep a night. But I pop awake at the crack of dawn. I have beaten my alarm clock for like the last 4 years. Weirdest thing ever.
And you feel pretty good when you wake up, right?
Oh, yeah, man. It's like, up, done. What? What do we have to do? Not groggy, not, I can't take naps anymore. I do miss those. No, I totally, I used to eat and get a food coma, and then I would nap for about 2 hours. And then, I wouldn't go to bed till about 11 at night. And then I'd have apnea. My wife timed me once. She said, "You didn't breathe for 35 seconds." No way.
Were you ever
Yeah,
on a machine?
no. Mm-mm. No.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that's just gone. There's no snoring, there's no
Yeah.
nothing.
I I breathe through my nose all the time. I don't have stuffy noses anymore.
Mm.
At night, I'm just kind of like, hmm, just wonderful. And I go out like a light. And then I wake up exactly 2 hours later. And that's the only time I'll use the latrine, because I eat and I drink all my water between like 3 and 6 in the afternoon because that's when I'm thirsty. And then I guess I'm one of these biphasic or diphasic sleeper types where I'll wake up in the morning about 1:30 or 2, and I'll get up, I'll walk downstairs, I'll do what I need to do, maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then I go back to bed and I'm out for my second sleep. It's been amazing.
That's interesting. So, um, I I've tended throughout my life to wake up in the middle of the night like that, but I find that anything that stimulates my mind in any way will keep me awake. So, like, when you get up at that time, like, have you got the lights on and that kind of thing? And
No, I turn on no lights. Unfortunately, we have some light pollution that comes through the windows. But like I said, I walked downstairs because I learned about this diphasic thing, and my little hypothesis that you probably can never test is that in the ancient times when we used to eat meat, we were also eaten by other critters. So I think we had this idea that we'd have to wake up and stand a watch over the other humans, and prick at them with fire, or maybe if we had sticks or whatever. And I think when you start eating ancestrally, I think you start sleeping ancestrally. I think our hormones revert to a time. Again, that's just a guess on my part. I don't know how they test it.
right. So, now that you are, effectively 4 years into this, do you feel like this is the way it's gonna be forever?
Oh yeah, I can't go back. Oh my God, no. Now there we have parties. Obviously, in Mexico, we start with the 16th September, Independence Day, and then we go into the Day of the Dead. We go into the Virgin Guadalupe, and then we have Christmas, and then we have the the wise men who come on the 6th. So all the way through Epiphany, and then finally you get to eat a bunch of tamales on the 2nd of February during Candlemas. So from about September to February, it's just all parties and all carbs and all food. And I just make myself some Swedish meatballs or some chicken wings, or a couple of steaks or whatever. And they're happy with it because they look at me and I'm 80 kilos and I used to be 130 kilos. What are you going to tell me?
And
Oh,
how
you
tall
should
are
be
you?
eating. Huh?
How tall are you?
I am 178 centimeters, 1.78 meters, 5'10".
Sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all. And my waist to height ratio, now that I've been walking, it's getting lower. I was at point 0.5, and now I think I'm like, I can I stand up? I mean, if you want to edit this, that's fine. But this is a belt that I used. This was my fat belt. Here's where the original holes ended. here's where I used to put it. And I've had to put one, two, three, and I'm ready to put a fourth hole in it already.
Wow.
I keep losing mass, but I'm a teacher and I teach at high school. And like I said, I'm 2 months shy of 59, and I go out and play basketball and football, soccer with them. And matter of fact, just kind of it's always nice to try to bond a little bit with the young men in class. So we did some arm wrestling today, and one really buff dude. He's actually 19, so he's actually a little older. But we held firm on arm wrestling, so he couldn't beat me. And the other kid, I wound up beating him. It's like, how are you supposed to be able to do this? By the time you're 60, you're supposed to be on medicine, and.
Yeah. It's it's really cool that we have the ability, without going to see a doctor, without taking any medications or anything, we've got the ability to effectively stop the clock.
Yeah,
It's
I've done it.
it's really cool. Um, so how you were talking about all these celebrations in Mexico where they've got it's a lot of high carb things happening.
Mhm.
Um, do you get any funny looks from people? Like, how come you're standing there with just the chicken wings? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, when you tell people you don't eat fruits or vegetables, you get like the deer in the headlight look. It's like, how are you alive? Why don't you have scurvy? Of course, nobody really knows what that is. In Spanish, it's gorbuto, but nobody really even knows what scurvy is because nobody's really had it. I do see some of the older generation with rickets. You can tell they had it because their legs are bowed. So obviously that's a vitamin D issue. But I'm thinking in Mexico, they do cover up a lot here though. They're always wearing long pants. And they're under they're trying to protect themselves from the sun with the umbrella. I'm like, guys, I'm kind of Polish by blood, and I don't burn anymore. And I'm at the 21st parallel, so I'm at 21 degrees north latitude, and it's sunny here, 90 to 93% all year long, and I don't burn. You tell me. I don't.
Yeah, I think that increased cholesterol that you tend to get when you're eating a carnivore diet is probably a good thing, right? Because that works with the vitamin D.
Yeah, they say it does. I mean, who knows if it's protective or it makes a little extra. Um, all I remember is my last quote unquote cholesterol reading was like 230, and I haven't measured myself in a while because why? I don't feel bad. So apparently, according to all that one study I think they did in Korea or whatever, 230 is like the sweet spot, and I'm sitting right there. So
So, when you've been to a doctor in Mexico, do they tend to follow the same kind of ethos or the same kind of way of doing things that they would in the States or in other Western
yeah, they
countries?
have what's called the plato de bien comer. They divide the plate by three. They include beans and other legumes in the proteins and lean meat, and then a third fruits, vegetables, and then a third grains, tortillas, essentially. Now, you're not going to lose weight doing that. And all the doctors I know have a belly roll. All the nutritionists I know, weirdly, I don't know any scrawny nutritionists. They're actually quite overweight. No, really. I wrote a book. I'm trying to get it published. It's called 50 Questions Your Doctor and Nutritionist Cannot Answer. And it was just all these, essentially, I got onto Quora and I started answering all these questions. I said, why don't I just write all these questions down? Because it seems like nobody knows how to answer these things about cholesterol, fats, and that kind of thing. So,
Oh,
yeah, in Mexico, the doctors, they're just as smitten with the allopathic model as everywhere else on the planet.
right. Yeah. And the obesity problem is relatively bad there.
Yeah. When I first got married, I got married in 92, and we lived across the river from Ciudad Juarez. And most Mexicans were pretty slim in the 90s. And I don't know what happened in the last 30 years, but Counting myself, I can't count another one or two people that aren't. You can just look at them. I mean, avocados on toothpicks. It's amazing. And the thin ones, yeah, they look thin, but you can still see the little belly issue, the ascites, the fatty liver. You can actually see this on people.
Yeah, it's really it's scary that this is just taking over the world, you know? That movie WALL-E with the people going around on the little scooters and whatever watching the TV, I mean, that's reality now.
It was prophetic. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so your day to day, you said you're eating a lot of eggs. Is that like just 1 meal a day?
Yeah, that's all it can actually tolerate. I wake up in the morning and I do drink coffee. I went off it for a while, and then as a good scientist, I had to get back on it to see if there was a difference between either one. And no, I actually count out 90 beans. We have a Costco here, so I get the Costco house blend, and I count out exactly 90 beans, and that makes about 355 mil. I mix it with 355 mil of water and a quarter bar of Lala margarine, mm, butter. Sorry. Or I can get the Costco grade A butter. But it's a quarter of a stick, and I wear that in a blender, and I'll start drinking that about maybe 10 in the morning. So, if that breaks my fast, then so be it. But it's normally they say fat doesn't really trigger mTOR, so really your body still thinks you're kind of in fat burning mode. And then I'll eat when I get home, 1:32 in the afternoon, somewhere in there. And then like right now, I ate 4 hours ago, 5 hours ago, and I'm stuffed. I mean, I'm still. I had two cheeseburgers, and this was natural cheese, full fat cheese called Manchego. Then I'll eat 10 eggs, and that's normally fried in a quarter stick of butter. And from time to time, so that's what I ate today. And then what else did I have? Oh, I get this stuff called riñonada, which is the fat that forms around the kidneys in the cow. And my butcher just gives me that stuff. So I will put that in a pressure cooker, cook it down. And so I probably ate 100 to 150 grams of pure beef fat along with my eggs, a little bit of bacon. Yeah, I had a little bacon. Um, I'm not feeling any pain right now.
So the interesting thing is you said before, like, you're stuffed, but I'm guessing that's a different kind of feeling of stuffed to what it would be if you had just had a 90% carbohydrate-based meal.
Oh, yeah, I've even done this. I've taken videos. I have finished my food and then I'll go outside and I'll sprint down the street. So I've just eaten 2 pounds of food and I can still get up and run 100 meters. I think I time myself. I want to. I'm guessing. Um, I think I run for about 15 seconds, and I think I was able to do 100 meters. Don't do the maths on that. That was some time ago. But no, I can run pretty fast. Like I said, I can outrun all the coaches at my high school. That's a shame. And I can outrun most of the seniors. So that's not a bad deal either.
Mm. So we spoke some time ago. Has since we last spoke, has anything changed in the way you're eating or the way you're living day to day?
No, just again practicing more of the Stoic idea. I'm a Latin Rite Orthodox Christian. I guess you'd say Roman Catholic. In some areas, they'd be like, "Well, you're just Catholic." Well, I'm more Orthodox. And according to Jesus' teachings and then the Stoic teachings, so far I haven't found a problem. Jesus talks about getting us into the heaven with the Father and the Holy Spirit. And then the Stoics seem to have learned to make that more of a pragmatic idea. So that's something I can actually practice every day. Don't respond to people, don't judge them, let the universe unfold as it has to, control the things you can, and don't try to control the things you can't. And carnivore, believe it or not, helps there because now you're not full of glucose. And I used to be explosive, Dave. I was not calm. I I mean, I have Tourette syndrome and I make a lot of faces, and I really think it's genetic because even carnivore didn't quite get rid of all of my Tourettic things, but it has calmed down somewhat.
Right. So, with regards to Tourette's, I think the first thing that people kind of associate with Tourette's is people randomly saying, rude words or aggressive words.
Coprolalia,
Yeah.
yeah.
But my I've got a friend who's got Tourette's, but it's more like just occasional twitches or occasional expressions on his face. Is that more like the Tourette's that you were talking about?
Yeah, I did have some coprolalia, copra from the Greek for, well, excretion, and lalia, the speech. And I, but I turned the word into like fun. So I learned how to kind of control the last consonant there. And, you find these little tricks so that you're not fired from every job you've ever had, kind of thing. You know,
Yeah, and so that has over the years, that's kind of calmed down.
I think it has slightly. And again, I can't tell you if it was the diet or the stoicism or more sun or just the free, easy, peaceful living here in Mexico. I'm not here to sell everybody on that. I'm
Mm,
just telling you, compared to where I was and compared to where I am, I'm just like life is good,
yeah.
totally, totally good.
So on the stoicism, I
Mhm.
feel like carnivore is something that kind of naturally starts moving you towards that in a way. I feel like because it's for me at least, carnivore kind of made me realize that I don't need to be so emotional about things that or I don't need to be as emotionally invested in things that are not going to have a good outcome anyway. Like, what's the point in worrying about these things? Like, I'd be at work and, I'd be involved in doing completing a certain amount of work, a certain task, and there'd be a difference of opinion about how best to get to the result. And normally I'd be really invested in that and I'd be fighting for my ideas and stuff. And carnivore made me realize, what's the point? No one's gonna give you a gold star at the end of this and a prize for having the best idea or whatever. No one's gonna care. So why do you care? And it enabled me to kind of step back and go, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the flow."
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, who cares if they adopt your idea or not? And I think we're so calm. I've seen most carnivores, and some people say, "Oh, they're so hangry all the time. They're really mad." Actually, we're not mad. We're perplexed. We're feeling better than a human being is supposed to feel, and we wonder why the rest of the world doesn't at least give it a shot. And also with Stoicism, they were really big on controlling their appetite. Well, let me tell you, when you eat 2 pounds of protein and fat, your appetite's controlled. Now, they would say you're a glutton. And I would say, well, since I'm not 130 kilograms, apparently I'm doing something right, even though I'm eating, Professor K, please don't yell at me, 4 to 5,000 calories a day. And I only say that because everybody else in the world seems to think calories are a big deal. And they go, how many calories? Uh-huh. Quad erat demonstrandum, Dave.
Yeah, that's awesome. But that's the thing. You know, you can appear to be a glutton in that one meal, but you're not going to be eating again for the rest of the day. You're not going to be constantly in the fridge like it's a girl that broke up with you in high school that you never got over. It's like you can be relaxed. You can have that calmness about you after you've eaten.
Right.
And
And think of the
your
time. Go ahead.
situation
No, go ahead.
sorry, your situation as well, you're fasting for the better first half of the day. You're not eating until 2 o'clock.
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
like, someone on a regular diet can't do that.
No, they can't. As a matter of fact, I remember when I first I got into my social sciences class, and I teach two subjects: social sciences and geography. And that's really specific because in both of those studies, we're learning that resources are important, especially. Interesting. But I saw a meeting with the coach saying, I don't want you guys ever skipping breakfast. Well, me being me and a professor and all, who actually wants my students' opinions, as we're actually up on the third floor and they don't have an elevator. So this is all stairs. And I whispered to a couple, I said, breakfast, watch this. And I took the stairs two by two. And I got, top of the, what is it, one, two, I think there's like, yeah, six flights. And they're just looking at me like, you didn't eat breakfast? No, you don't need it. Oops. But I mean, if the coach says you need it, you need it. But if your little professor says no, I don't think I'm going to worry about it.
Yeah, but it just shows you, like if the same information is repeated enough, then people just go, "Well, it's common sense."
Yeah.
And it's not common sense, it's just commonly been uttered, and that's why you believe it's common sense.
Well, some 80 years ago, they called it the big lie. And they just keep repeating it and repeating it. And eventually it becomes truth for them.
Yeah. Um, so, has anyone around you been tempted to give carnivore a try?
No, sadly, I'm still kind of the maverick. My wife, my daughters, I mean, they're in pretty good shape, but no, it's the typical, oh, I couldn't do that, or and I'm lean. I kind of again think back to segue into, Moses parts the Red Sea, and today people are doubting it. I mean, you're witnessing somebody who was carnivore, who had a belly. I mean, you've seen, yeah. I mean, if you go out to my YouTube channels, I do have pictures of me out there with my belly, and I've been this way, and I went from that to this in 9 months, and here 4 years later, I'm still the same. Um, Seems to me that, gosh, maybe I should try this thing, you know. But no, nobody wants to. So.
People can see what's happening with before their very eyes, but it's almost like they've heard a different story so much they can't believe their eyes.
Mhm. That's why they have to test it. They have to do it. Um, Dr. Barry, just go 90 days. Anybody can do anything for 90 days. And the way I tell the story is this: I was sick and fat. If carnivore were the wrong thing to do, don't you think a couple of weeks into it, it would have been just like the last little bump I needed to push me off the cliff?
Yeah, and that's why it's just once you experience it for yourself, um, there's very few people I think that would say, "No, no, no, I'm not having any of this improved health business. I'm going back to a standard American diet. I don't trust this improved health stuff."
No, no,
If you did have someone come to you and say, "Look, what should I do? How can I start carnivore?" Would you say just try it for 90 days?
no. And believe it or not, because in just the most recent story, one of my students actually came up and he wants to be larger because he remembers my talking about some of the indigenous populations. If I'm not mistaken, and I have this right, in the United States, when the Europeans came over, they found some towering individuals here. And from what I know, they ate buffalo. I think these were the Central Plains folks, or even the Lenape Lanai who are on the East Coast. But they were large, they had big jaws, and I believe they ate some veg, but I think a lot of their food was still meat, and they were always bigger and taller. And then he came up and said, well, if I ate carnivore, could I be bigger and taller? And of course, as a professor, I'm like, the first thing you need to do is always do what your mom and dad tell you, number one. So please follow mom and dad, and that's just kind of what you have to do. Number two, if your genetics are not big and tall, it doesn't matter at this point what you eat. You're just not going to get big and tall. But you might find that you feel better if you want to do something like that. So, but check with your parents first, and if they're cool with it, they can call me. And I mean, if you really want to do this thing, fine. But man, no, parents first. And if it's like an adult, I have had very few people one approach me. I wish they would because I would love to make money in this thing, but it's like no, they're just too busy with their tortillas and whatever, and you know. And we have a heart fit place right next door. The owner of this thing is chunky and pudgy, and I said, you know what, I'm really good at nutrition. Would you like me to join you guys? And oh no, see, I'm a personal trainer and I know everything. Oh, okay, yeah. Epictetus says, don't worry about those who know everything because they won't listen to you.
Mm.
So
Wow. It's a bit scary when something called Heart Fit, the person running it is not, you know, is doesn't look the part, you know?
and because when you're doing it's all cardio. So, I mean, that spikes cortisol. And now you have a lot of sugar flowing through your system. And I mean, if you think you're going to do an hour of cardio so that you can eat a few gorditas in the afternoon, you're mistaken. That's not how it works. And, you can't outrun a bad diet. I don't know if Gary Taub said that or who or where I heard it. And I did the calculation once. They have these little calorie calculation things. If I walked a mile at 3.5 miles an hour with my weight and my build and everything, that would burn off the amount of calories in like 2 tomatoes. I did that once. I did that. And tomatoes, they're not really nutrient dense. So if you think you're going to outrun a diet, oh, Dave, but really, honest to God, I just came to this. I'm hopefully going to be retired at 62. Um, I think since my year, I think I can get social insecurity by then. And what I want to do is I want to walk from the cathedral at Aguascalientes, where I live, to the cathedral at Guadalajara, 244 kilometers away. I want to walk it in 5 days, and I want to invite sports people, the press, medical, anyone who wants to join me. The trick is you can only drink you can only drink water with pinches of salt, no food. So it's going to be a 5 day fast walking a total of 244 kilometers over 5 days. Because I remember seeing that there was a guy who ran 5 marathons daily for 5 days, fasting for 5 days. And I'm like, I can do that.
Wow, that's awesome. It would be really good if you could get, like, media and stuff involved in that. That would be
I'll
awesome.
let you know. I'll let Dr. Berry know. I'll let the whole spiel know. All the carnivore folks, all the keto folks, and say, you know what? You want to come down to Mexico? You want to keep up with me? I'm not going to do it one day to the next. I'm not stupid. I'm obviously going to prepare. You have to. Um, but I'll probably do that priming thing a week before just to make sure I have enough nutrition. And I will have already walked. I think I need to walk 30 miles a day. And then, if I can do that 10, 15, 20 days. I like Professor Bart Kay's way. He said, pick the pace that you want to go, and you go until you're exhausted. And then when you recover, do it again, do it again, do it again until you reach your whatever it is that you wanted to reach in the time you wanted to reach it at that velocity. And I think that is a really cool way to do things. Um, so I'm gonna give that a whirl.
Yeah, that'd be exciting. So you're planning to do that after retirement?
Yeah, at 62. I mean, I could do it at any time, but I still, I haven't found a way to make money for food if I take a
Right,
week out.
right,
You know,
right.
it's economy.
Yeah. So, you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's my name. That one I remember. It's Thomas Hughes at 4859.
Right.
And then I reference my other channel, which was From Fat to Fit After 50, but I don't remember the actual name of that one.
Mm,
But I have everything on the channel that I just gave you. Everything from what I get into science, I get into music, I get into everything, and especially into diet. I
mm.
even had like a flu watch. Everybody around me was dying of the flu. I think it was not this last February, but a year ago, February. And I'm like, day by day for 30 days, I'm like, still no flu, still no flu, still no flu. I didn't take any medical procedures or anything. And why am I healthy? Why do I sleep through the night? Why? Why? And gee whiz, because I eat meat, I guess.
Yeah, it's almost like a superpower at times. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll link to your YouTube channels in the show notes.
Okay.
Tom, thank you so much for coming back on and letting us know how things are going. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks. Yeah. And October 3rd, it's my wife's birthday. I hit 1,600 days.